Hey guys, B-Boy Stunning T Stunning Tyler here with an explosive deck profile for you. This is what's known as the War Greymon Rush Omni Turbo OTK, or just the Omni X Turbo deck. It pulls off classic War Greymon shenanigans, where it just plows through security in one swing, like you used to do back in the day, leaving no crumbs for your opponent. So, without further ado, let's get right into this ridiculous profile. I've been actually playing this. I actually played it this weekend at locals, and it did really well. On DCGO, it is devastating. So, after you see this list, you can go ahead and test it out and just see for yourself just how explosive this deck is. I think its only weakness really is maybe if they're extra aggro very quickly, because you still have to find your pieces like a textbook Greymon deck. However, there's a lot of searching and there's a lot of consistency that you still can find and make the stack OTK even with your missing pieces. So, yeah, just being out-tempoed, and sometimes you might be in a situation like D-Digivolve could be detrimental, like in Excel, if they drop out Bancho Leo to D-Digivolve something, but I'll explain potential techs you could have him. So let's get right into the profile. As you saw, I do run the 4 copies of BT5 Coromon. When you attack, you want to be War Greymon, swinging, activate next antibody to go into your Omnimon X. So you're going to have all your pieces in hand. It just does get that extra draw when attacking with the Greymon or Omnimon. Ideally, there's some moments where I swing with the War Greymon and I didn't actually have the Omnimon X. And when you're in that situation, you just have to kind of hope with a prayer. And that draw from the attacking happened to be the Omnimon X, and I was so happy. So it happens very seldom, but more times than not, when you're attacking, you already have all the pieces you need in hand. So it just helps you get extra draw, and that's never a bad thing. For my rookies, I run 12, the textbook 4 Agumon X from BT9. You have also 0 from Agumon. On play and when digivolving, you reveal 3 cards. You can add the X Antibody option card and a Greymon or Omnimon card and name to your hand. I run 4 copies of Agumon X from Bt20. Play him for 3. He also Coromon, of course, so the color doesn't matter. We all know that. Reveal 4. You can add a Taikumi, a Tamer, and a Greymon or Omnimon named card to your hand from the search. And Inheritable gives 1,000 to your Greymons and Omnimons all turns. So of course the textbook thing is to hard play this, search for free, evolve an Agumon X on top, get a draw from the Evo, and search 3 more. Look for the pieces that you need. Bada bing, bada boom. You know how it goes. And lastly, 4 copies of Agumon for BT14, gives extra 2,000 DP to your Omnimons and Greymons in name. Start a main phase effect, you have a tie, you can evolve into a Greymon for free. That doesn't come up in this build often. He's just here as a nice DP boost for your Omnimon / War Greymon attack. So yeah, he's the main one you want in raising, but you can make things work. Hell, there's been moments where I've had to just use Agumon X, which you hate to see, just in back, and the OTK still can pop off and not be super detrimental. So yeah, they all just serve their purpose and they work really well for the strategy. For my level 4s, I just run 8. They're just the Greymons I need. I don't want to see anything else but these guys. 1 copy of Greymon X, of course. He reduces your evolution cost when you evolve up by color. So if you evolve into, like, for example, the ST15 Metal Greymon, it wouldn't cost 3, it would cost 2 just because of the black color. Metal Greymon X from BT11 would cost 2 instead of 4 because that's 2 colors. And his Inheritable gives you protection all turns. If you were to be deleted, return to hand or deck by an effect, your Omnimon or Greymon stack, you can remove your X Antibody option card from underneath, tuck it to the bottom of your deck to prevent your stack from leaving play. So that does come up, and it is always clutch just in case. And he does have the effect of evolving for 0 on top of your Greymon if you need that. I also run 3 copies of your Greymon X from BT9. He evolves for 0 from Greymon as well. And he has all turns affected. If you were to be deleted, return hand or deck by an effect, and you're an Omnimon or a Greymon in name stack, you can trash 2 your same level in your stack to save it. So you can trash your Greymon or Greymon X, your Metal Greymon X, your Agumon X to save your Omnimon and War Greymon stack from leaving, in theory. And lastly, of course, 4 copies of ST1 Greymon. He gives security attack +1, so he's just there for your OTK piece. Even if you don't see him and you have to go into one of these guys, just it happens at times, you still can make up for the lack of security check with a lot of the other security checks you get from the things in this deck. So fear not if you don't see him, but it always feels nice to see him and then evolve, of course, into a Greymon X on top and raising. So that's the go-to with that. For my ultimates, I do run 4 copies of ST15 Metal Greymon. He simply gives security attack +1 as well. Evolves from a level 4 Greymon in name for the cost of 3. and he's just innately a blocker, but he's just there to keep enabling your OTK, your multiple check, paired with all the other checks. Is just nasty. As we mentioned, security checks, I do run 3 copies of Metal Greymon X from Bt20. He evolves for 0 on top of a Metal Greymon, and he gets extra security check just from evolving, and he gains extra 3000 DP from having a Metal Greymon or the X Anybody option card underneath your stack when you evolve into the Metal Greymon X. So it carries over 3000 until the end of your opponent's turn. When you evolve into that and you have, as mentioned, the X Anybody or Metal Greymon underneath, and he gains a security check for the turn, so that carries over into what you evolve up into. And lastly, just for a little bit of extra protection, I do run 1 copy of BT11 Metal Greymon X Antibody, just to save you from D-Digivolve and DP reduction if you're in a matchup that you might need to have that alternatively instead of this. So you're evolving for 1 on top of your Metal Greymon. You're still going to be usually pretty fine because there are a lot of memory in this deck, especially if you have Cool Boys out, you gain that memory right back. He protects you, as mentioned. He can also pop a 6K on your opponent's side of the field if you have Metal Greymon or X Anybody underneath. And when a Digimon becomes unsuspended on your opponent's turn, you can trash their top security card from its inheritable if you have an Omnimon or Greymon on field, which you are going to be. But more times than not, you're not even going to use this effect because when you attack, you're going for game. There are odd chances where you might still they might still survive something, or one check or something like that, like you didn't have the most optimal build, so something like that might be cool. But he's okay to go into because you do have so many security checks from this, your ST1 Greymon, your Tai on field, your War Greymon Bt14, so you might just want this just to have just extra protection. If you want it, you can even do a 2-2 split, but more times my matchups, I just tend to think this one's the better one, because very seldom do you end up getting like the Acel matchup or something like that where you do need to have that DP reduction, or something where they drop out from the D-Digivolve. I mean, it can come up, but just be cognizant of that. But more times than not, this is the ratio I enjoy, and if you want, you could just do 2 and 2 of these, but yeah. Sticking with this, I really like it. For my Megas, I just run 1 particular, 4 copies of BT14 War Greymon. He is another security check enabler for the Omnimon. When Digivolving, he gains Raid for the turn, and he may attack, so he has Pseudo Blitz. When attacking, if you have a Tamer, this Digimon gains Security Attack +1 and Piercing for the turn. So that Security Attack +1 and Piercing carries up into your Omnimon stack whenever you mid-attack evolve into it using the X Antibody. His other effect of warping into a War Greymon, for Monagumon, I guess could come up in a weird situation if you have a Tai on field and they have a 10,000 DP Digimon, which is an alternative thing to do. Otherwise, he just evolves for 4 from a level 5 Greymon in name, so your Metal Greymon X would evolve into this for the 4, even though you crossed over memory. Or, I mean, you can use a scramble to help reduce it. However, more times than not, you're going to cross over memory, but as long as you tuck the X Antibody on your turn before you evolved into it, so when you use a Metal Greymon, you tuck the X Antibody option card, evolve into this for 4, swing, activate the X Antibody, and evolve into your Omnimon X. Speaking of, I run 3 copies of Omnimon X, the boss monster of the deck from Bt20. Omnimon X, he has Raid, Piercing, and Blocker. He's going to evolve from 6 from your War Greymon, so keep that in mind. He's just nasty on play and when Digivolving, so again, if you somehow have 6 memory from popping all your memory boosts and you were to hard play this, you would bottom deck one of your opponent's Digimon, and then end of turn, you once per turn can give one of your Digimon Rush, and that Digimon may attack without suspending, so you just give yourself Rush and attack without suspending, and he'd stay up as a blocker if you need to, in an alternative situation. But however, if you have the X Antibody in your evolution source for this particular build, when you attack with your War Greymon, pay the 6 and mid-attack evolve into Omnimon X here, you would choose one of your Digimon and choose one of your opponent's Digimon, delete every other Digimon that's on the field, and then, including your own by the way, except him of course, and then you would bottom deck whatever Digimon you decide to pick for them to remain. So if they can get past that and somehow get their ace plays going after you delete it and then bottom deck their thing, then they deserve to because just that alone is just such an oppressive move in itself, because then even after you delete their stuff, bottom deck their thing, if they were to, whatever they bottom decked or deleted, having to play a body back out by its effect, you can of course still, when you attacked the player, it can still redirect with the Raid and pierce through whatever little thing they decide to play out. And you tend to have enough protections to save yourself from like a retaliation or something like that could potentially be there. And then the end of turn would then activate, where you just would essentially swing for game because you cleared through 5 to 6 security based on your stack. Yeah, it's nasty. I'll kind of go over what the ideal line for this build is. It's not hard to get either, and even a janky one could still be pretty good. For options, I run 2 copies of Red Scramble. It just helps reduce your red evolution. When a red Digimon evolves to another red Digimon, you can play this for 2 and reduce it by 3. So your War Greymon would cost 1 instead of the... Technically it would cost 3 because it would be the 2 here and then 1. So it would cost 3 instead of the 4 in theory. And it has a start of your turn effect that if you have no Digimon on the field, you could delay pop this to play out a 2000 DP Digimon from your trash and put one of your red Digimon, firstly, one of your red Digimon cards on the top of your deck, play out a 2000 red Digimon, usually a search your stuff, you can get back the thing you just put, and then you of course withdraw after you probably did the search. So that's pretty cool. If you don't have a Digimon, if you do have a Digimon on the field and you were to just pop this, you can just put any red Digimon card from your trash on the top of your deck. So you can put back that Omnimon X maybe, or that War Greymon that went to the trash. Maybe you bottom deck 2 War Greymons and you had 2 War Greymons as a security and you needed to get it back. Have your scramble ready to get that War Greymon back for you. And security effect, that if you hit this in security, you can play out a 2000 DP red Digimon, and this just goes to your hand. So that's good for just recurge, getting searchers and all that good stuff. I run 4 copies of Garnet Memory Boost. It costs 3. It also counts as a black card, but it doesn't matter for this particular build. You reveal 3 cards. You can add any black or red Digimon card from the reveal to your hand. So you can get of course, your black metal Greymon with this, and you can get your Omnimon because it is red, and get all your other Digimon pieces that you need. And delay, you can pop this to gain 2 memory. Memory is always nice. Sometimes you can just pop this, gain 3, drop a searcher, grab pieces, and then end turn dropping a 2 cost Cool Boy, something like that. They pay off in folds. I run 4 copies of X Antibody from Bt20 because you need this card. It is your win con. You can't have War Greymon and not have this in hand because you need it to evolve into your Omnimon X. So you always want to see this card. It can steal turns as well, because when it hit in security, you gain a memory. So if they're on 2 and you happen to have a bunch of X Antibodies, or even they're on 0 and you had just 1, they hit it, steals turn for you. It helps, again, facilitate your OTK. Tucking you under activates when attacking to evolve into an X Antibody Digimon mid-attack. And also it can't be stripped, so blue decks can't get rid of your X Antibody for what that's worth. Those are the options. And lastly, the Tamers 2. Bt1 tie is your memory setter. Tie can come up, in certain things that the Agumon and Greymon, War Greymon, would need. He gives all your red Digimon 4 evolution sources, security attack +1, so he just helps with the OTK combo for your Omnimon X. And lastly, 3 copies of Cool Boy from Bt20. On play, it costs 2. On play, you reveal 3 cards. You can add an X Antibody option card to your hand and an X Antibody Digimon, essentially, a trait to your hand. And at any point, whenever you evolve into a same level Digimon that has an X Antibody trait, you can suspend Cool Boy to gain a memory and draw a card. That's fantastic, especially when you're on your Metal Greymon play, and you just use these to pop off. It is super, super good, and I'm just going to show you just a quick idea of what the ideal situation for this build would be. So let's theoretically say, you have your Coremon back here in raising. Let's say even if you just had like a Cool Boy on field, that's all you need. All you need is a Cool Boy. It's better if you have a tie and a Cool Boy, but even if you just have a Cool Boy, the combo can still pop off. So let's say you had been building up in the back. Ideally, you had your Agumon X, your Greymon, let's say even Greymon X, and you ended on like a Metal Greymon. So let's say you're ready to pop off. Let's say it's your turn, you push out your Metal Greymon. Before everything, make sure you play your X Antibody for free, attach it underneath. And then for free, you can go ahead and evolve into your Metal Greymon X Antibody for 0. Suspend Cool Boy, you gain a memory, get a draw from the Cool Boy. He gains extra 3000 DP and extra security check. And then you would go into your War Greymon for the cost of 4, even if you cross over memory. Although you could also, as mentioned, play a Scramble to reduce that evolution, so it only costs 3 instead of the 4, which if you are, paying attention to the memory, as long as you have the 6 memory to pay for the Omnimon, that does come up. So be cognizant, and Scramble can help for that particular play. So you evolve into your War Greymon. You do have a Tamer, so you do gain Piercing and Security Attack +1 for the turn, and that carries over. And you can raid, or you can just attack in general. So you swing with the War Greymon, activate the X Antibody, and then you would then evolve into your Omnimon X. As I drop Agumons all over the place, you evolve into your Omnimon X antibody on top. So now swinging with this, you're swinging for, after you would activate his effect, you know, his whole when Digivolving happens, you choose one of theirs, and then delete those, and then you bottom deck their thing that you chose. And then the attack would resolve, and if they had anything out on the field, that's when you could still raid with his attack without this. You could just raid because you're still attacking and just redirect over there. So you're swinging 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 checks from this alone. You know? And then after you clear through that, his end of turn would then activate, and then you would just give yourself that rush and the ability to attack without spending, and then just swing for games since you cleared all their security. Even in a non-ideal stack, let's say you're playing against something where maybe you had to go with this Metal Greymon instead of this one, you know, and you know, had to go, I don't know, let's say you didn't have this Greymon in stack. I mean, that could hurt in particular situations, but I don't know, maybe you somehow, you know, had a Bt20 tie on the field to help make it up, so it does make up for the lack of security check. Even a stack like this, he would still swing for 1, 2, 3, 4 checks, you know. And if you swung with like a little guy, like a rookie earlier on, which is always good to do if you can, if you left one of your searchers and they lived, swing with it, because it just helps your, you know, if your stack isn't as ideal or janky, still power through with, you know, 3 to 4 security checks just on itself. But more times than not, you're gonna swing for the 4, the 5, even 6 in ideal situations. So I wouldn't worry too much about it. I'm saying just even if you didn't have any security attack on your opponent, and you went with Omnimon, you can still clear through 5 to 6, so that is nasty. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this profile. It is a devastating deck. It catches a lot of people off guard. Honestly, the only counter to it is just being aggro against it. Just try to get as much chips in as possible while you're still trying to find your pieces. But if you see your Agumon and your Greymon, then you're usually good to go. It struggles if you don't see a rookie and you don't see a Greymon. So just keep that in mind. That's why you have all the searches you can, and why I play like the ratios I do for certain things. Maxed out on my searching Agumon, my Agumon X, my Garnet Memory Boost. You know, you have scrambles, get back things. So hopefully you enjoy this build, War Greymon. I love all this new stuff coming out and different ideas and thoughts on how to build it. Hopefully you enjoy War Greymon Rush Omni Turbo. It is a fun deck to play and something that I'm going to continue playing in my locals until Bt20 comes out, and I can hit them with the Owen War Greymon deck. But yeah, this thing is devastating. Hopefully you guys enjoyed, and take care.
What's your name? I am the Stun.